It's race day here for the InThePitsNews Truck Series as we roll into Homestead-Miami Speedway, heading down south for race 3 of the Chase. Things are getting closer to the end as we hit the third of 5 stops to determine your Season 3 champion for the InThePitsNews Truck Series. Tonight's race, the Mardon 200. It'll be the third event that we have here at Homestead. I'm Dawson Allen. As always, joining me in the booth tonight will be Jonathan Canfield and Adam Kuhn. Jonathan, Adam, we're looking forward to a good race tonight, and we're looking forward to seeing who can really solidify themselves as the championship contenders.
Yeah, we are. We're getting down in the thick of it. We got two really amongst themselves. These two have really stood upon everyone else this season throughout the regular season. 4 wins apiece, and they lead the league in lap sled. Jonathan Parker and Michael Krueger. It's going to be a fun chase for this championship the next 3 weeks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming down to the end of these last 3 races, we've seen a gap close up tremendously last week with Michael Krueger getting the win. And now sitting 10 points behind our points leader, Jonathan Parker. Really, you look at the rest of the field right now, I think we talked about it last week. There are 3 drivers that are relatively almost out of this, but up until that point, anything can happen, and it's anybody's race for this championship.
Yeah, talking about these points, let's go ahead and get your graphic up to show you where the point standings are right now. You can see there, it is Jonathan Parker, your championship leader, but the gap has diminished now to just 10 points after the win at Bristol by Michael Krueger. And Alex Khirfan's got a fighting chance, still 35 points back. Dalton Kelly, David Duran, Justin Duran, all still right there in the mix, 38, 40, and 44 points back. But you mentioned there, Alonso Chicano 7th, will not be racing tonight, so all but knocks him out. And then Andrew Elias, Ryan Bogey, Matthew Stotts, all just about mathematically eliminated with how far back they are in points. So it's really coming down to about a 3-horse race. It's coming down to it being between Parker and Krueger, and Khirfan's still right there within striking distance. It's still a good shot for him to get up there and steal this win.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jonathan, it would be a tall rally for Khirfan to do something. He blew an engine last week after getting damaged in a lot of the crashes we saw at Bristol last Saturday night, but he was able to get back on track, tried to contend for the lucky dog, but blew an engine racing Brett Bennett for that spot, and just fell so many spots in the race and lost a lot of points. And he's going to miss out on those points, Jonathan, and try and contend here for the win tonight. He won on the last mile and a half track, though.
That he did, and we talk a lot about momentum and how it can affect a driver. There's another word that I like to talk about that shows who you are as a driver, and it's how you deal with adversity when it's thrown your way. And we've seen Alex Khirfan deal with adversity very well this season, picking up that win just a couple weeks ago. And obviously last week, not the week he wanted, but this week's a new week, and we're going to see what kind of driver he is and how he deals with it and how other drivers race him. And same for any of these guys in the championship race. A lot of adversity thrown at everybody's way last week, it would seem, with the exception of Michael Krueger picking up the win. We've seen Jonathan Parker deal with adversity very well last week, just to no avail and not having the best run. So again, adversity and momentum are the 2 words I'm going to stick to throughout this entire chase. Who's got the momentum and who deals with the adversity best?
Yeah, it's going to come down to it. It's about just putting together the races that you need. With 3 races left, it's crunch time. And like I said, some of these guys are right there in the mix, like Khirfan and Krueger, who are right there within striking distance. All it takes is one bad race from Jonathan Parker, and those 2 can easily capitalize. But somebody like Dalton Kelly, David Duran, they're not out of it, but they're not really in the best shape. They're going to need a lot of outside help to really be able to swing for the fences in this one, which Khirfan's the same way, but the difference is Alex Khirfan has shown speed and been able to run up front and contend for the lead and even win a race. We have yet to see that in any of the other guys as of recent. David Duran's last win came at Talladega before the Christmas break, and then Dalton Kelly's last win came in Season 2 at Martinsville. So, some of these guys are really looking for this last push. If anybody's got good momentum, I think it's that number 30 of Alex Khirfan.
And we're coming to a track here tonight that I would say in a truck is actually very, very tricky in terms of how it races. I've raced here personally in a truck, and it's not as hammered down as you might think. Very fast track for what it is, but very different compared to the tracks that you could compare it to in size. This track, it just upsets the truck in a way that you would not expect, to where you're struggling to get on the throttle throughout the corner as you're trying to exit off. And you got to brush off some speed on the entry to be able to make the corner. It's just a very tricky track. I wouldn't be surprised to see guys doing like we seen last week at Bristol and just stepping on the throttle too hard and spinning out. I wouldn't be surprised to see it at all. Kind of like a short track type of feel, but a big track nonetheless with a lot of speed.
So we watched some drivers get some practice time in. Right there is the number 6 of Nick Hapiak, currently on his, I believe this is his 4th career start. So he is looking to get into some more starts. He'll hit the 5 marker next week at Martinsville, or at the very least, if he runs Kansas, he'll hit it at Kansas. The last race we ran, he started from the pole back at Chicagoland, January 28th. So he has, 2 weeks ago, he had a pole, and he's definitely got some momentum on his side. But tonight, running that RFK test scheme they ran in honor of Ken Block tonight. Love that scheme. Love that scheme.
As the 14 of Michael Krueger is out here putting in his lap times and trying to figure out his truck. I've been watching this truck for a couple laps, and he has been struggling to get off the exit of the corners here. Kind of like what I was talking about earlier with just how much throttle you can give it. These drivers right now in practice pushing the limits here, trying to get all they can out of their trucks. As looking at lap times right now, he's actually tied with Alex Khirfan on time, and to the 1,000th, he is 1,000th back from Josh Arnold, who's just ahead of him and Khirfan. Very close lap times here. Pretty much the top 6 to 7 drivers are all in the 32.9 range in lap time. So very close field here tonight. Michael Krueger looking to carry some momentum after a win last week, and hopefully he can get it done here tonight and continue his momentum and close that gap with Jonathan Parker.
And there we see on pit road, currently 16th fastest, slowest truck on track that has turned a lap time. It's our good buddy Josh Coppernell. He is looking to have a good run tonight. See if he can't put something together and maybe crack that top 5 for the first time tonight. But he has definitely got a long road ahead of him. This race is going to be something treacherous for some of these drivers. Now, I'm noticing here, it looks like neither of the defending race winners are currently here tonight. The race winners of your Season 1's race was, I believe, dominated, actually, by Noah Mayuri. 85 laps led of the 134, and I believe he also he was up front pretty much the most of that race. 5-second gap between him and Gracias, and of course Jason Gracias the next season in heartbreaking fashion pretty much ran out of fuel coming out of turn 4, and that handed the win over to Joseph Lester. He led just 1 lap that race, and that was that last lap. So definitely interested to see, how this race plays out, because, we've seen 2 different issues happen. We've had this battle of attrition pretty much for some of these drivers, where they had to go on and, make the fuel last if they could on strategy. And some of these other races we've got, like we saw in Season 1, a driver just came in and just dominated the field.
Yeah, we have a good chance of that happening again tonight, Dawson. I think we can see fuel mileage come into play in that second stage, or someone just come out here and dominate. We see close practice times, though, so hopefully we see an actual battle tonight for this win. And with everything on the line, it's going to be a really close battle here tonight, I think.
And it's going to be exciting, too, because you see the top 5 right there. 3 championship contenders, top 6, all 4 of them right there. Kelly, Parker, Khirfan, and Krueger all up there. So that's the checkered flag for the practice session. Dalton Kelly was fastest. Jonathan Parker second. Ethan Fonseca Moreno third. Josh Arnold fourth. Alex Khirfan brings it home 5th. And then, of course, we saw Michael Krueger, who's also still in that playoff picture. He was the 6th fastest driver. So right now, it looks like we've only got half of our playoff drivers here tonight. I see Michael Krueger, Dalton Kelly, David Duran, Jonathan Parker, and Alex Khirfan. So I don't know if those are drivers throwing the towel in or not, but those are the guys that are all 6th through 10th in points. We knew Chicano wasn't going to be here. He is currently out of town, and we do hope he's had some safe travels and hope he's tuning in and watching elsewhere. But we have not seen Stotts really since, I believe, the first race at Kansas. The same with Ryan Bogey, I believe. And then after that, Elias had 2 bad races and pretty much just killed all his momentum. Chicano, of course, with the issues. And then Justin Duran, 44 points back. He is not racing either tonight. So we've currently got it. Currently got a situation where we're going to have 5 drivers here in this battle right now. So we're going to look and see. Our first driver we're going to follow is the number 62, Zach Probst, who is currently on track qualifying. Setting his first official timed lap. Nathan Fuller is out there. Brett Bennett, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Alex Khirfan, and Jackson Glenn Austin out there setting their lap times.
You mentioned Jackson Glenn Austin, regular in Tuesday nights in the Slide Job Racing League. Good to see him out here making his debut in the InThePits Truck Series. Just got the truck this week, I believe. So first couple laps for him around not only this truck the vehicle combo, but also first couple laps up to speed in this vehicle, and probably one of his first races here in a vehicle like this for him.
As you see, right now, the pole sitter is, if my eyes are deceiving me here, I think that's Brett Bennett on the pole. And how about Jackson Glenn Austin, second fastest on his second lap, on his first out lap. So we'll see how this pans out. Nathan Fuller jumps to the second spot as they complete their second lap here. Zach Probst is going to go 32.996. That'll put him on the pole. As happy I could just taken it. We see some other drivers are currently out there rolling. We're going to look to see that 26 of Josh Arnold as he is out there. I believe he ran last night in the Dig Designs NAOR series.
Yeah, indeed he did. He had a pretty good run last night. Not the best of finishes for Josh Arnold, though. I don't think that way he wanted it to go. Got beat up a little bit in that race, as did everyone at Martinsville. Something we're going to see next weekend here in the Pits Truck Series. Chase race number 4 next Saturday night at Martinsville. But Josh Arnold setting a decent lap time of 33.2, 6th right now. He's going to try and improve right here.
And so with that, Arnold going for his second lap to see what he can put down. Looks like Tristan Maher is out and rolling, as is Jonathan Parker for their first laps. Parker going out for his warm-up lap. Maher looks like he's about to complete his first lap of timed qualifying. But we're going to go, of course, to our current points leader, Jonathan Parker, and see how he's doing here.
Going back to Josh Arnold real quick, he did not pick up on his second lap. Got in the wall off of turn 4 a little bit and scrubbed off speed there coming to the checker.
So that's going to kill his lap there. And that will put him, as of right now, it looks like in the 10th position as Michael Krueger jumps to second fastest on the board. But Jonathan Parker coming around to complete his first timed lap here, as we've got about 1:15 left. So if they haven't set a lap time yet, they may not get a chance to qualify. That's right now. David Duran, Shane O'Neill, and Josh Coppernell have yet to qualify. That time by, though, Jonathan Parker just needed 1 lap, and he puts it on the pole. He won't even need this second lap. It's not going to matter unless he improves his time, but that will lock up another pole position for Jonathan Parker. And I do believe that the pole awards points. It awards a point here, so this will be big for Parker heading into this race to have a bonus point locked up for himself. That time by, of course, does not improve. Actually drops it just a little bit. But that puts him on the pole. And so with that, as we get ready to go racing here tonight, we have our starting lineup all but ready to go. So while I've got 17 seconds left in qualifying, everybody that's run their laps has run their laps, and everybody who has not, they are going to elect to not go out Set a qualifying lap, I should say. It's David Duran, Shane O'Neill, and Josh Coppernoll. They elect to start from the rear of the field, so that leaves us with our drivers that have qualified. So we hit the checkered flag. Let's take a look at your starting lineup here, presented by Mardon Technologies. On the pole is Jonathan Parker. To his outside of row 1 is Zach Probst. Michael Krueger and Nick Hapiak make up row 2, and then Ethan Fonseca Moreno and Tristan Maher make up row 3.
Starting in the 7th position is going to be Alex Khirfan sharing that row with Brett Bennett. Row 5 is going to be Dalton Kelly and Jackson Glenn Austin in his debut. It starts ahead of Cameron Caldwell and Josh Arnold, who share row 6 with Nathan Fuller and Roy Crump, rounding out the top 14 starters. And the rest of the field being gridded by David Duran, Josh Coppernoll, and Shane O'Neill. And like you mentioned, they did not put down a lap in time trials.
So with that, that's going to leave us with a field of 17. When we get ready to go tonight. While we're gridding up here, let's see if we can get a quick word in with our in-race reporter. Tonight's in-race reporter will be the winner of the Charlotte Roval earlier this year, Tristan Maher. Let's see if we can get a hold of driver the 69. Hey, Tristan Maher, this is the boys up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys.
Alrighty, heading into Homestead tonight, looking for a win, and also more importantly, you're looking to see if you can get the dash for cash this week. What are you feeling like heading into this race?
I'm feeling a little skeptical. I don't know how confident I am. I mean, the top 7 are all within a tenth of each other. I think that this race is going to come down to who can save tires the best, and maybe a little bit of strategy.
Well, like I said, starting 6th, though, a good qualifying effort, and it puts you right there at the front of the field. You got, while you're racing your race, you've got playoff guys that are battling for points for the championship. Do you race them the same way as others? Do you maybe give them a little more leeway, or what's your approach to those drivers?
I think I got to look at that depending on the situation. I have to, first of all, figure out who I'm racing for the dash for cash. Figure out what's going on there. And based on like what's my situation is with the other dash for cash drivers, that'll determine whether or not I give leeway to the chase guys. But if it's tight race, I'm gonna race everybody the same, no matter what the situation is.
Well, alrighty, we'll let you go here as we're getting ready to come around and go green. Best of luck out there tonight.
Thanks, guys.
And that is Tristan Maher, the driver of that 69 machine, looking for a good run here tonight. And so with that, we get back to the front of the field where Jonathan Parker is ready to lead the way. Zach Probst to his outside. This ought to be a very fun start of this race here. This is a very chaotic race, and there's a lot of sliding in the corners. If you cook it too hard, we'll see who can manage at the start of this race. It's Parker, Probst, Krueger, Hapiak, Moreno, the top 5. The pace truck dives off. They head towards that restart zone. And when the green flag drops, it will be Jonathan Parker leading the way. Green flag is out. We are racing here at Homestead for the Mardon 200.
Khirfan gets around Ethan Fonseca Moreno, into turn 1. He washes up the track a little bit. Also got around the 6 of Nick Hapiak.
Some drivers struggling with some grip early on, trying to fight for positions as quickly as they can. I see Moreno on the lose again. He's battling for this 5th position with Nick Hapiak. And you see sliding in the background. Oh, talk about a curse. It's Tristan Maher. The first caution of the night's going to come out with our in-race reporter. And just like that, caution for the first time here at Homestead.
Yeah, Dawson, when we look at the JCTV replay here, it looks like he just got a little loose in turn 3 and 4. Lost the right wheel a little bit and got finished off by Brett Bennett. Everyone somehow missed that 69 truck, Pretty good job on Maher to slide it there on the inside and not hit the inside wall, Dawson.
Going to take a look back at the onboard by Cameron Caldwell. Watching this, had it in front of him. You'll see right here that 69 steps out a little bit, gets a little loose, right in front of Brett Bennett. Bennett nowhere to go, helps finish him off, and then right there, Cam just missing that spinning 69 truck, as he is able to make it by and stay clean for the time being. So caution on lap number 1. And you can see there the positions have already shaken up. Parker still the current race leader, but Michael Krueger is up to 2nd. You see Alex Khirfan jumped up to 4th in that 1 lap dash that we had there pretty much. So we've got 3 of our drivers up here in this top 5. Dalton Kelly is currently scored in the 7th position, so he's got stage points, but not enough. And then I can see David Durand right now currently 15th out of it. So we'll see how he can claw his way back up to the front here as he looks to go for some more bonus points and see if he can't try to reel in these points leaders.
Yeah, and speaking of that 1 lap dash, we almost had an incident before what happened in Turn 4. Going into Turn 1, Jackson Glenn Austin from his 10th starting spot in his debut lost the rear end of his truck and kind of drifted into Turn 1, almost got into the door of Cameron Caldwell and did a great job not making any contact with anyone else and got out of the way for Josh Arnold, who was right behind him. So everyone navigated him pretty well there, and he lost all of his track time there, unfortunately, but great learning experience for him, and his tire's going to be real angry here, so.
So we see drivers making their way through the choose cone. It looks like Jonathan Parker is going to go to the bottom. Michael Krueger up top. So just about, lining up the same way they were going to on the restart. No one's really changing up anything, so we'll see how this affects this race. You got to realize, too, when we hit the line this time, it will be 30 laps to go for the stage, so drivers will be going for some stage points here. The top 8 score them right now. 8th place position is Brett Bennett as he sits. Dalton Kelly right up ahead of him in that 7th position. They're on the inside, 4th in the inside row. So we'll see how this shakes out. 30 laps to determine the stage winner and hand out some bonus points here tonight. And of course, too, Jonathan Parker leading laps is another bonus point that he will score. So we will be able to add that total up a little bit. So now he's currently sitting 12 points above Michael Krueger and everybody else trailing behind this number 81 machine, looking to see what they can do as they come through 3 and 4. Pace car is going to dive off once again. Field is in the hands of Jonathan Parker once more, and he'll lead us through the Geico restart zone into the green flag.
And side by side as they come down in the first corner, Michael Krueger falls in line behind Jonathan Parker, and it looks like the field is going to be thinning out a little bit. Kind of single file out.
Looking back here at Cameron Caldwell, I was getting ready to say he just had a slide there in 1 and 2 as well. So this 12 machine struggling with a little bit of grip. Moreno, though, up in that top lane trying to rip the wall, pulling the Larson line, trying to pull some extra speed here on the straightaways. And right now into 4th he goes as he rockets past the start-finish line. That will put him at a 35-second lap, looking to catch these top 3 drivers.
Yeah, and he's been consistent here over the last couple weeks, been running up front. If I had to go ahead and say a driver that's due for a win, I'd say it's this 43 of ITPN Moreno. He's put in the work, he's ran well, and I'd say he's due for a win. As up front, we have a lead change between Michael Krueger and Jonathan Parker. Michael Krueger did find his way around that 81 truck, and not too far behind them. It's storybook that these 3 would be up front. Alex Khirfan in 3rd, Jonathan Parker 2nd, and Michael Krueger in 1st.
Krueger leading that lap. That nets him a bonus point that he needs to try to catch back up to Jonathan Parker. And he'll have to see if he can start to grind out some more bonus points and cut his way by Jonathan Parker. You see Parker tries to wash up to the outside lane. Michael Krueger's going to close the door on him and keep him at bay. And you see Alex Khirfan lurking. Here comes Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Moreno has been running some of the faster laps on track right now. In fact, currently the fastest lap on track belongs to that 43 truck as he runs that high lane up by the wall, that very dangerous line. It's definitely a risk versus reward type thing. He's got nothing to lose. He's going to go for it compared to these 3 up here in 1st through 3rd. They have everything to lose if they get in that wall and puts them behind the 8 ball.
Side by
Yeah,
side for the lead again. Parker to the inside of Krueger through 3 and 4. He had been right on the tailgate of Krueger the last 2 laps entirely, not moving. Finally picking to the inside. That was close that time for that lap. It was Parker who led that lap, and into turn 1, he's got an advantage over Krueger running that inside lane, Jonathan. And he's going to be able to clear him on the back.
indeed he will, and the battle's on for third behind them as the battle continues to heat up for the lead. Ethan Fonseca Marino going to the bottom on Alex Khirfan. He is clear into 3 that time by, and now he looks ahead to Michael Krueger and Jonathan Parker, not too far in front of him.
Again, though, like we said, Moreno's not here for anything but a win. He is here to run his race and try to get to victory lane. So he is putting on a great run here in the early goings of this race. Like I said, fastest lap right now belongs to that 43 truck, and he is currently trying to get by Michael Krueger for second as he dives to the inside.
And he will take the spot on Michael Krueger, and just like before as he got by Khirfan, set his eyes forward, and he's going to go try and hunt down Jonathan Parker. Looking back through the field, a playoff driver who's kind of struggling right now, that 24 of David Duran. He's still back here in 13th, not making up a whole ton of ground. He's got Jackson Glenn Austin in behind him and Nathan Fuller in front of him. If you're David Duran, you need to get up here in this top 8, and you need to get some stage points as we're winding it down here. And you got to do something here fast. You got to find the speed, and you got to get around some of these guys. Just not a good start, though, for that 24.
Yeah, I was watching him on that restart, and he was taking it very cautious, very slow, tail of the field, and like he was not in a hurry at all, and kind of lagged back to make sure everyone got through the corners clean. And now he's up a couple positions since then, but like you mentioned, Jonathan, in not a great position for the rest of this race, and definitely not in a position to get any bonus here at the stage at lap 34.
And compare that to the rest of the playoff drivers in the field. They run first, third, fourth, and fifth right now, all in stage points positions. Kelly, of course, a little bit further back. He came into this race 38 points behind, comparative to Khirfan's 35. Durand came into this race about 40 points behind. So, being this far back, this is points for these guys. Parker's got 8 points right now. Krueger's got 6. Khirfan's got 5. And Kelly's got 4 to his name, where David's not getting any points. And, just now battling Nathan Fuller, but it's just not enough right now for this 24 truck. He is going to have to put together some really good laps here, but he is kind of boxed in right now.
And right
going
now,
back to
go ahead.
Going back to our in-race reporter, Tristan Maher has gained positions. He was up to the 10th position after that spin.
And somebody else I was watching who's just in front of him, just outside of stage points right now, is the 62, Zach Probst. He's kind of just in his own world right now. Tristan Maher is not pressuring him, but he's in a position here where he could steal some stage points from possibly any of these playoff drivers or any of the drivers in front of him. If he just starts turning up some laps. Right now, the guy who holds that last spot in terms of stage points is the number 12 of Cameron Caldwell in the 8th position. But right in front of him, somebody that we see quite regularly here on JCTV, 47 of Brett Bennett, still looking for his first win.
Yeah, Brett's been racing just about everything that I have to offer on JCTV, whether it was Slide Job, NAOR, the InThePitsNews Truck Series. I mean, he's running everything he can, but he just has yet to break through for a win. He's just begging and praying that he can finally put together a race, and I think a lot of us are too. We harp on him a lot. We joke about it a lot, but Brett is absolutely, I wouldn't say he's torn up about not winning, but it doesn't sit right with him that he's had so many good races get thrown away. So he is definitely hunting for a race win, and he's looking right now 7th place. Not a terrible run, but it doesn't look likely that it'll come tonight.
I've been watching this battle for that 6th position last couple laps, and he has caught Nick Capiak, and they've been racing pretty hard. Drove away from Cameron Caldwell just a little bit, but looks like Capiak's going to hold this position for the time being while Bennett and Caldwell start to run the fence.
And back up front, the leader still continues to be Jonathan Parker. Ethan Fonseca Moreno, we thought he had the speed early on, maybe the tire wear is starting to set in as we are 17 laps into this. Not as close as he was before, and right on his tailgate right now is Michael Krueger and Alex Khirfan. They're not far out of this at all. And the little thing that I think I didn't mention, I don't know if you guys mentioned it as I stepped away, but draft here at this track, it does play a factor going down these straightaways. They are long enough for you to pick up a draft on a truck, and you can get a run going into a corner. So the longer that these trucks are in tow with each other, the better it is for Jonathan Parker because they're all in dirty air and they're all battling. So Jonathan Parker just continues to stretch out his lead little by little each lap. Right now, last time by, it was up to half a second. This lap by, still at about a half a second. So not really stretching it, as I'm saying, but just maintaining the gap right now and able to run his own race.
Yeah, that time by, Ethan Fonseca Moreno ran a 33.98 compared to Jonathan Parker's 33.95, so he's slowly losing this pace comparative to Parker. But Moreno's not completely dropping like a rock yet. He is still right there with it. Still running the second fastest laps on track right now. So we got a pass for the fifth position, as Happyack battling with Dalton Kelly here. This is for stage points. 6th and 5th right now as they continue to swap. Dalton really needs these points, and Happyack is looking to spoil the party.
Nick Happyack, a driver we've seen in the NAR series regularly, and he is the dominant driver over there in the NAR series, all-time wins leader for that series. Not surprised to see him up front and ready to see what he can do here for the rest of this race. Adam?
Yeah, and just behind them, the battle for that 7th position is on. Cameron Caldwell ran the top through 1 and 2. Brett Bennett was a little bit wobbly in the corner, tried to take his line, but couldn't commit. Caldwell got to his inside down the back, and Cameron drove by for that position. But they're not over yet because here comes Zach Probst and in-race reporter Tristan Maher right to the fight there. Probst to the inside. He got a great run right there behind Brett Bennett trying to take it to the fight for that 8th spot right now.
Yeah, Probst got really close there. Bennett not getting as low on entry as Probst is.
Oh, Maher almost slid right into the 62 there.
Yes, he did. Almost. They are checking up really bad, honestly, behind this 47. I feel like Brett's honestly holding these guys up, and he's not really giving them a ton of room or a racing line to get around him. But Tristan Maher to the top, Brett Bennett through the middle, Probst going to the bottom. This is a heated battle here for this last stage spot. Right now, give it to Zach Probst as he pulls ahead. Brett Bennett going to get a run. We'll see if they clean it up here in 3 and 4. Tristan Maher to the back bumper of the 47. Zach Probst washes up. Very, very close. Bennett able to hold on to it. They all hold on to it. They're 3 wide coming to the line, guys.
Bennett's going to keep hemorrhaging spots, and Maher gave Probst a shove. Probst up the track. Probst is going to get hit by Bennett. They're going to save it. And if anybody's going to benefit the most from this, it's going to be the 24 of David Durand, who's right there in the background.
I would also argue that Nathan Fuller benefited the most out of that because he cleared all 3 of those trucks in one corner. He just picked off Probst, Bennett, and Maher in one set of corners and bumps himself up 3 spots, now in that final spot for stage points.
Something I noticed too, look who is currently in the 7th position. It's Dalton Kelly. He was running 5th, now he's dropped a spot to Cameron Caldwell as well, putting him in 7th, so losing more spots. As I see some more side-by-side racing, Probst and Maher look to be right by each other yet again, and David Durand is right there as well, battling with Jackson Glenn Austin. That is for 12th, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter fully. Coming up to 10 laps to go in the stage, David Durand has got to go now. He's got to pick these cars off one by one if he can.
And one thing he's going to like to see is Nathan Fuller racing to the inside every lap of Dalton Kelly. He can't quite get there on the straights, but he is driving inside deeper than Kelly into each corner and trying to make that Ford truck stick on the inside of the 45 and get that 7th position, put Kelly down another spot. Jackson Glenn Austin is in the wall behind them, going to allow David Durand to fight for that position yet again.
David
This
Durand,
time,
go ahead.
This time Durand does clear and gets to set his sights forward a little bit now as he'll try to chase down the 47 of Brett Bennett, who is sticking to the bottom where Durand is up in the wall, and Glenn Austin in the wall again, trying to stick to the line that Durand is running, and it's just not working out for him. I'm sure you guys might have talked about the different lines you'll see here tonight, but that top line is such a fine line to run. You're right up there next to the wall. If you overdo it just a little bit, easy to get into the wall. Interested to see one of our chase contenders running right up next to it, trying to make up some time.
It's interesting too because it's so inviting to run that top lane and try to get the run off the corner on the straightaways. But you gotta be very careful. It's a very fine line you have to run. I mean, we see here Dalton Kelly is now back to 8th. In his mirror now is Zach Probst as we come up on 7 to go in the stage here. Or actually, that makes it 8 to go in the stage. Kelly's gonna have to get a move on here. He is currently in 8th, the last points paying spot here in the stage.
Yeah, and Probst just got a huge run through turns 1 and 2. Phenomenal job on the exit of onto the back straightaway there, and he's going to run down this 45 truck. See if he can pass him. It's going to take a lot, but we've seen that 45 truck fall off the last couple of laps, like you mentioned, Austin. So it's going to be a fun fight for these last couple points here.
Yeah, and you've seen Kelly that time. He's been up by the wall, but now he's moving down to the low lane, putting some dirty air on the spoiler of Zach Probst, but also inviting him to get some draft off of him, and that could be costly here if Probst is better on the bottom. Probst could also put that truck up to the wall and just get a run off and go right by Kelly here. So you got to be careful with how you're running your line. Try not to give guys an advantage that you can't overcome.
And just ahead of them, Dalton Kelly, just ahead of Kelly, is Nathan Fuller trying to make a move on Cameron Caldwell. He was to his inside a lap ago, couldn't do anything there. He just had a change for the 10th position. Brett Bennett got around Tristan Maher, knocked him back a spot.
And for that 8th spot, Probst is there. Dalton Kelly, not what you want to see if you're a chase contender right now, is that 62 all over your tailgate and in your mirror, waiting for you to make a mistake. Right now, Kelly pushing high, Probst trying to peek the nose under, not enough that time. Kelly's still clear. We'll see if Probst maybe takes a shot at either dive bombing the corner or going up to the wall. As he dive bombs it in right there, Kelly forced to go up high. Probst should get the spot on exit here, and indeed he does.
Yeah, Fuller got around Caldwell, and Caldwell was pretty slow through 1 and 2. Running the line Kelly was running, and allowed Probst just to bomb that bottom line like you were talking about, Jonathan, and he takes that spot clear for 8th, and now he's going to set his sights on that 12 for another spot.
Something I'm looking at right now. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead, Nathan or John.
Exactly what I was going to talk about, Dawson. We've seen Michael Krueger actually fall back to the 4th position. So drivers late here falling off and starting to struggle. I think the tire wear is starting to set in really bad for some of these guys up front. And some of these guys that are at the back maybe not burning as much tire, doing a better job saving their tires. We see in the beginning of the run, a lot of these drivers up by the wall. When you're up there by that wall, you're eating your tires alive. Some of these drivers that have stuck to the bottom, though, have just come through the field. As we see Nathan Fuller make the move on Nick Hapiak, he's now up to the 5th position, and he could be a threat here for Michael Krueger to fall just towards the outside of the top 5.
Yeah, and speaking of guys falling back, Caldwell back 2 spots in 1 corner right there. Kelly back into stage points position if he can get around this 12 truck. Racing Caldwell down the back straightaway, was ahead of him exiting 2. Caldwell going to fight back, of course, into turn 3 right here. Last points spot right here, Dawson.
They continue to battle here. There's a battle up ahead as well. Cameron Caldwell's getting a little loose up top. Hapiak and Probst now battling side by side. This time it's 2 laps to go, and it's all Jonathan Parker right now. A second is the gap between himself and Moreno has about a 1.5 second gap back to Khirfan, who's got a second over Krueger. So the top 3 comfortable right now as they head down the straightaway, heading into 3 and 4 to get the white flag in this stage to see just what they can do to set up points-wise heading into this next round.
Yeah, and the 62 of Zach Probst did get the move done on the 6 of Nick Hapiak, so bump him up to the 6th position. Nathan Fuller right behind Michael Krueger here. He could be a spoiler here to take away some more stage points from Michael Krueger as he sends it into the bottom here. He's going to get a good run off. Krueger not able to contend with it as of yet as they go down the back straightaway. We'll see what happens here in 3 and 4. Battle for 4th and 5th is on right now. See who brings it across. Jonathan Parker, though, no stress, no worry. He's going to cross the line and take the stage win. But we're going to keep our eyes on Michael Krueger and Nathan Fuller. Nathan Fuller does get the spot. Michael Krueger back to the 5th spot in that stage.
And looking back as well, Dalton Kelly was able to get back to 8th, so he salvaged a point. It's only a point, but it still is important because every point can matter in these races. Only 4 drivers that are currently racing. In the playoffs, 5 drivers that are racing in the playoffs. Only 4 of them were able to score stage points. Looks like Krueger was 5th. Then we saw there that Alex Khirfan brought it home in 3rd, and then Dalton Kelly getting that ever-important spot. He gets an 8th place finish in that stage, so therefore he is able to get the final point needed to try to keep his championship hopes alive. So right now, unofficially, Michael Krueger is now 15 points back. Alex Khirfan is back 39. Dalton Kelly down 47. David Durand is down 50. That is unofficial as we run right now. Obviously, everything can change. Everything can be different. But right now, as it stands, Jonathan Parker has a 15-point lead as we head into the second half of this race.
And I assume we're going to be coming in to where everyone would be making stops. I expect to see the whole field come down. I don't see any reason for anybody to stay out as I look through the field to see if anybody does. So far, no takers. Everybody's down pit road. The only driver that will stay out is the driver of that 91 truck who is 7 laps down. He's going to stay out here and try to get a lap back.
So let's watch the field filter off pit road. It was Jonathan Parker, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Alex Khirfan, Nathan Fuller, Nick Hapiak, Michael Krueger, Dalton Kelly, Cameron Caldwell, David Durand, and Brett Bennett. That's how they roll off. That is the top 10 rolling off. But right there, that is your stage winner, Jonathan Parker. That is his 4th stage win on the season. And I've got some bad news for the rest of the field. Every race that Jonathan Parker has won the stage, he would go on to win. His only win that he had that he did not win the stage was back at Pocono when Michael Krueger took the stage win. So it doesn't bode well for the rest of the field here.
Indeed, it does not. And looking back through pit stops, somebody that was a big loser there that was running 6th when the stage break came out. Zach Probst, obviously staying on pit road longer, take some repairs. He did have some contact during that run, but down all the way to the 12th position fixing that damage. And Tristan Maher, I think, is still probably on pit road. No, he is off and away. He's another big loser there. He'll start probably shotgun of the lead lap cars at the beginning of this race or this stage.
Yeah, that 69 had a lot of front end damage. Nose of that truck was completely caved in after that contact with Zach Probst in that run going to turn 1 quite a bit ago.
But Maher won't be alone because out back of the field with him will be JCTV's own, the 42 of Josh Coppernell. Another guy. Really, we just haven't seen anything here tonight. And talking to him this week, he feels confident at most every track we go to, but he just can't put it together some weeks. So we'll hope to see this 42 find his way through the field as we're going to get ready to run it from here to the end, hopefully.
Yeah, you can see there the highest that Josh Coppernell has been scored in this race thus far, 14th. Currently scored in the 15th position right now, so kind of struggling here, but of course that's to be expected with that 42 machine as these races go. So the juice cone, you see Moreno goes to the bottom with Parker's. That opens the door for Alex Khirfan to the outside. Nathan Fuller goes top as well, as does Michael Krueger. Hapiak to the bottom, Kelly to the bottom as well, and Cameron Caldwell up top. It looks like Brett Bennett chose the bottom as well. Indeed he did. David Durand up top will complete the top 10. Looks like after that it's Josh Arnold, Jackson Glenn Austin, Zach Probst, and Tristan Maher. And then it looks like it should be Josh Coppernell and Roy Crump, and that will set up the field heading into this restart here. Under 100 laps to go here at Homestead.
Gonna be an interesting restart, guys. That stage ran pretty much green all the way. We had that early caution, but been a while since the restart. Cold tires are cold. That has to be reminded to everyone throughout the field. It's gonna be a little dicey here, I think, on this restart. See what Krueger can do from the sixth place starting position here.
Pace truck is off. Field is back in the hands of Jonathan Parker with Alex Khirfan, who is outside. The green flag is back out. We are racing here for the second half of this race here at Homestead. Fuller drifted up a little bit in the corner right ahead of Michael Krueger. That stacks up that outside line big time and allows the inside lane to roll.
Challenge for the lead up front. Khirfan got a good run down the back straightaway. Parker had to basically slingshot not slingshot, but he had to drive all over the straightaway to get rid of that slipstream he was spewing out to that 30 truck. And Khirfan was side by side in turn 3. Couldn't do anything with it in turn 4 though. And here comes Ethan Fonseca Moreno right there.
They're 3 wide. Michael Krueger made the move work on the top, and now they're 3 wide again. Fuller, he's bouncing off someone to the wall back there. It might have been Durand. Happyack, Fuller, and Bennett still 3 wide back here in the background. Bennett tries to send it in, set it on that middle groove, and roll. Indeed, he does. Durand trying the top, seeing if he can make it work for his favor in his quest to continue his championship dreams. But right now, he is stuck behind Brett Bennett in the 7th position, now going for 6th over that number 6 in Nick Happyack.
Yeah, he's making that top work. He got right around Fuller there, and he's on the outside of... Oh, he's in the wall there. He got around Happyack and almost got to Bennett's door.
Still on Bennett's back bumper, right there with him now. Roping the top again, is David Durand. This time a little bit further away from the wall, but he still drifts right up to it. Going to see if he can get a launch off the corner. Can't quite do it. Meanwhile, up front, battle for the lead. Alex Khirfan to the inside of Jonathan Parker.
We'll see what kind of run Parker can muster up here. Ethan Fonseca Moreno back out there on the fence, trying to run these two down as they go side by side. That's the best thing he can see right now is these two stuck side by side. He's going to be able to close the gap. Khirfan still not able to clear. He should clear down here in 3.
Alex Khirfan, of course, he got the win at Chicagoland on a late pass on that number 81 of Jonathan Parker, who was unable to make the right call on strategy. Khirfan got the fresher tires later, and it paid dividends. He won in Chicago for his first win of Season 3. Jonathan Parker, of course, 4 wins of the season as a rookie. The first driver to ever record 4 wins in a season. And, of course, his closest competition, Michael Krueger, did the same after his win last week at Bristol. So, some stiff competition, I would say, for this 30. A lot to overcome, but if there's anybody that can try to do it, I know for a fact it is the driver of the 30. He has been on a tear recently, now battling again for the race lead.
As I'm looking back through the field, I'm trying to see if there's any drivers battling. The closest battle I see inside the top 10 is going to be Nathan Fuller chasing down Dalton Kelly and Nick Happyack right now. These 3 trucks are kind of under a blanket for the 9th, 8th, and the 7th position. Nathan Fuller looking to the inside of Dalton Kelly. Try to see if he can make up some spots here. As we just seen him a couple laps ago stuck 3 wide.
David Durand just overtook Brett Bennett for the 5th position. Still running that top lane. Kissing the wall almost every lap off of turn 2. Got it again there and going to allow Brett Bennett to wheel right back up into that 24 truck and take that 5th spot yet again.
Yeah, we see David is definitely putting it all into the second half of this race, the later stage of this race, but coming across the line that time, it'll be lap 47 of 134. He is pushing hard right now to get back up into this top 5 after he tasted it there the outside of Brett Bennett, but now he's definitely pushing harder to see if he can't get back up there and try to contend. Meanwhile, up front, Jonathan Parker maintaining the race lead right now over Alex Khirfan, and if I'm Michael Krueger, if I'm Alex Khirfan, if I'm Dalton Kelly or David Durand, I'm not happy seeing this, because right now that's more laps led for that 81, which means a bonus point for the most laps led. That currently resides with that 81 of Jonathan Parker. On the flip side, right now the fastest lap belongs to Alex Khirfan.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if that fastest lap ever falls. Not anytime soon on this run. It's going to have to come if we get a late race restart. Maybe that last pit stop, put some freshies on, and track might be cooler off by then, so someone can run a faster lap than Khirfan and get another bonus point with their contact off of 2 and 4.
Oh, yes.
Spinning.
Looked like netcode helped him out there. That should be a caution. I'm surprised it's not. Brett Bennett, the real loser on that one, he goes all the way around, and he's going to lose the field. And
yeah, there was contact with David Durand, like I had mentioned a couple minutes ago. These two have been racing hard for the 5th position, and it just went haywire there in 2 and 4, and the 47 spun out and got into the inside wall a little bit, I believe, Jonathan.
Yeah, looking at the replay, I mean, you can see where that's like a little bit of netcode there, but David trying to push to the inside, just got a little squirrely underneath Brett, drifted up the track, and just contact there. It happens in this kind of race, and that's what we saw there with Brett Bennett, unfortunately, on the losing end of that exchange. But also, too, I mean, David Durand as well, he's back to 10th now. He's going to have to fight his way back through the field again to see if he can try to salvage some points tonight. So he is really, not off for the better. He's no worse for wear.
Yeah, he lost 4 spots there. He never got back up to speed, really. He kind of probably presumed it would be a yellow like everyone else who saw that incident happen. He got back onto the track not until the middle of 1 and 2, pretty much. And 4 trucks had already gone around him at that point. And then Josh Arnold got around him again. So, like you mentioned, a lot of track position lost right there. And it's going to be a tall hill for him to climb.
We'll see. As I talked about at the top of the show, adversity is what shows what kind of driver you are, and he's got a lot of adversity to overcome. He's done it once already. We'll see if he can mount a comeback and do it again. Back up front, it's still Jonathan Parker, but he's not running away from this 30 of Alex Khirfan. They are relatively in the same ballpark as far as lap times go right now. Both of them running 30.8s. Give the advantage last lap to Khirfan, but not enough to really make a difference, and not too far behind them is that 43. He as well running a 32 or a 33.8. Correct me. I'm sorry. 33.8s. These guys are just running consistent lap times, and they're keeping their gap consistent between each other. So right now, the front stays the same.
Yeah, Jonathan, I've been really impressed. Like you mentioned, the front top 4 so close right now. Overall, in this run to the start of the stage, Parker not really driven away from Khirfan, and no one has really driven away from each other in this top 4. Now there's a little bit of distance between Ethan Moreno and Michael Krueger, the first we've seen really of any of these top 4 in this stage. Got fight back here for Josh Arnold and Nick Hapiak. Believe this is the 8th position right now on track, and Hapiak got around Arnold.
And Arnold's going to come back to the outside here and see if he can mount a run. We'll see how close it's going to be. Hapiak still has the position right now.
And they are catching Cam Caldwell. Caldwell was a little bit further ahead of these guys and running the same line Hapiak is. So Arnold's going to go to the top right here in turn 1. Didn't quite commit all the way. He runs the middle. And now he's got David Durand who's outside running the fence again.
And David Durand's making that top side work for all it's worth right now. But as I talked about earlier, the longer this run goes, the more that top's going to die off because the tires are going to wear out. We'll see how long he sticks up there. Eventually, you got to drop it to the bottom and try to just run with these guys and force him to make a mistake. But right now, he is catching, and he is looking to the outside here of Josh Arnold.
But as we come across the stripe that time, it is lap number 56, and we can see up ahead, it's race leader Jonathan Parker out front dominating here in Miami. It's a common sight at this point. We're going to take you on a quick side-by-side break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Mardon 200 here on JCTV.
Hey man, you cut me off back there. What you gonna do about it? Oh man.
Can you feel it? The taste of Coca-Cola when the race is
Alright, fine. Are we good? We're good.
Ooh. Call Logano. Hey, Joey, you can save money if you fill up at Shell if you use Advanced Auto Parts Speed Perks.
Dude, I'm way ahead of you.
You saved at the pump?
Yeah, I saved at the pump.
The pump?
The pump.
He saved at the pump!
Now you can save at the pump when you shop at Advance Auto Parts. Learn more at advanceautoparts.com/gas rewards.
Now, it's my turn.
I'm Jimmy Johnson. Boom, confetti. I'm Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy, customers love the new paint color. It's your beard.
Oh, wow.
And living legend, Jimmy Johnson is on aisle 8.
Dawn, this is all great. Maybe a little much.
I think we're playing it pretty cool here.
I'm Jimmy Johnson. Boom, confetti.
Whoa! Dad, where'd you get that?
Oh, you won't believe what just happened.
Don't tell me you got the last Diet Dew.
Yeah.
I love the taste of Diet Dew. What do you want for it? Deal.
Diet Mountain Dew. Yeah, it tastes that good.
Hey, hotshot. Meter's running.
Fly the blimp, too much hot air. Race announcer, same thing there. Wouldn't get a word in with you know who. Just get down on the track and do what you do. Slide down in my seat, pull the belts tight. Get up on the wheel and let the dust fly. Napa know how. Napa know how.
Man, we're door to door. I have the better car, fresher tires. I drove it in deep, and you missed it. I know you wanted to watch it, but you got throttled by your data plan, and it slowed you down. You hit your data limit streaming all that techno music, didn't you? I mean, really? Man, you've got some questionable taste in music.
Switch to Sprint, the only network with truly unlimited data.
Hey, track bar's broke and you keep jumping out of gear. What do you want to do?
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it? Oh, Coca-Cola.
Should probably go.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
We welcome you back here to the Mardon 200, presented by Mardon Technologies. If you're looking for a new PC or new technology to help you gain some time on the racetrack, check out MardonTechnologies.com. Brian Haynes is great to work with. Very, very good computers. Of course, everything you see here on JCTV runs on a Mardon PC. Just 64 laps complete here. Jonathan Parker continuing to lead the field. As we get back to the action here for you. Adam, what were you watching there in the break?
I noticed David Duran. We were watching him race Zach Probst there, trying to get another position. He's been racing that 62 pretty much since he got back there into trouble, but he got in the wall yet again in that 24, running that higher line. Lost a lot of time to the probes there, and he's continuing to fight that 24 truck right now, Dawson.
And you talk about fighting. Pit stops underway. A lot of drivers coming down to get in service. Alex Khirfan came down. Brett Bennett has yet to come down. He is just that far behind. Michael Krueger on pit road right now. You see Josh Coppernoll just up ahead pulling off of pit road. So pit stop's starting to get underway here. We're looking right now about 28 laps is how long they've been running. So not too sure if this is a strategy called a two-stop it or if this is a case of they have to pit now. I'd be interested to find out which it is.
I think Jonathan Parker's fixing to show us which it is because he's still out there running and he's not looking like he's ready to come down anytime soon. So we'll see if he plays the long run here and tries to stretch his lead out a little bit more. As now he's got a 1.2 second lead last time by the stripe over Ethan Fonseca Marino.
See Michael Krueger pulling off of pit road here. Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, no one opted to pit that last time, Dawson. So we'll see if, as the field comes around this time. Through 2 and 4.
I'm starting to wonder if this might be a two-stop strategy for some of these drivers.
Max.
Oh, Khirfan in the wall hard.
No
slow
caution.
with no yellow.
I saw him slide through 2 and 3 and 4, Jonathan, and then he was in the wall big time.
Yeah, just like that. You talk about the momentum he had coming in here.
Oh.
Dejected right now. It pretty much all but solidifies him outside of a good finishing position here, and not what you want to see if you're in Alex Khirfan camp. But if you're in the Jonathan Parker or the Michael Krueger camp, that is kind of what you want to see. That's going to allow you to take some points out here and stretch a gap to this 30 truck of Alex Khirfan.
And for someone like Dalton Kelly too, I mean, he came into this race behind Alex Khirfan. So, getting the jump there to get himself in a better position, it's huge for Dalton Kelly. Right now, currently scored 4th. He is on the same strategy as race leader Jonathan Parker. But this will be huge to see how this pays off for those drivers that elected to pit that time. Obviously, right there, it bit Khirfan when it mattered most, and pretty much takes him out of this race. Meanwhile, Michael Krueger He's currently scored 12. You can see him in the background there on the straightaway right behind the race leader. So he is catching up and looking to go unlap himself if he can here.
Yeah, back to Khirfan real quick. Dalton Kelly was pretty lucky. He didn't get into that side of the 30 truck when he was disabled on the right side of the front straightaway. He was just out of the blue pretty much coming off of turn 4, right in the wall, and Kelly did a good job avoiding him, while he was side by side with another truck at the time. So pretty good job there. Khirfan on the radio said that he had no warning and just snapped loose and got on the wall big time, as we saw, and pretty dejected when he said that over the radio, like you said, Jonathan.
Yeah, and we have another pit stop being made. Cameron Caldwell is pulled down for his stop here, so we'll see where he cycles through and how this plays out for him. Jonathan Parker's still running out here in the lead, 1.4 seconds back to Ethan Fonseca Marino. Then Nathan Fuller, Dalton Kelly, Nick Hapiak, Zach Probst, Josh Arnold, David Durand, Roy Crump are the drivers that I believe have yet to hit pit road, at least of the lead lap cars, or the cars that were already on the lead lap. As Dalton Kelly has just worked his way around the 6 of Nick Hapiak. Dalton Kelly showing that he's got some pace here late in the run. That could be beneficial for him if this thing stays green. And
yeah, Kelly not gaining, actually struggling right now. Slower those last few laps than Hapiak and Probst to have hunted him down. We saw this earlier in that long run there to end the stage. I mean, Kelly is just, he's not that good on this long run. He has a much better short run truck than he does a long run truck. And he's really hoping, a late race caution can put him in a spot to gain. Meanwhile, on pit road is David Durand right now. So we see that 24 hit pit road. That'll put him in 11th as it stands right now, behind Michael Krueger, who is back on the lead lap. As we cut back to our race leader, Jonathan Parker again. I mean, a lot of different strategies. The top 9 right now have yet to pit. Brett Bennett, however, he is just ahead of the race leaders, about to go a lap down. About to get passed, actually, by Michael Krueger. for that position. So we'll have to see how this pans out as this race continues on. Khirfan still on pit road, 6 laps down now. And it looks like at 81 hugging that white line real tight. He has got a really good long run speed.
Indeed he does. And Dawson, I appreciate you correcting me there. I've seen similar colors, and I just mixed up 2 trucks there. Nick Hapiak was actually being the aggressor there and trying to pass. Dalton Kelly still has yet to work his way by, as he is actually being passed on track right now by Zach Probst. And those 2 battling has allowed Dalton Kelly to stretch a little bit of a gap and take a breather here. But I don't think it's over for Dalton Kelly. As you mentioned, Dawson struggling on these long runs.
Yeah, and here comes the faster truck of Cameron Caldwell around these guys on the freshies, so they're not going to be able to fight for position here. As Probst actually had a big bobble there off of turn 4 and allow Happy actually get to his outside.
Dalton Kelly there, he had a big moment there. He was in the wall hard, and you can see the damage to the side of his truck. Allows two trucks to get around him. The 62 is Zach Probst and the 6 of Nick Hapiak as they were battling. Dalton Kelly, not sure what happened, if he was just riding the high line and overstepped it a little bit, or if he got loose and maybe overcorrected into the wall, but definitely a little bit of damage there to that truck. Not probably going to feel very good as he keeps running out here.
I can imagine we're fixing to see some drivers coming down pit road looking like they might split this at 50-50 if they can. But that's a big if they can, because I don't know if they would be able to make that work. We saw last year it all came down to fuel mileage, and someone had, some guys saved a lot better than other guys did. As we saw at the finish there, Grossi is coming out of 4, allowing Joseph Lester to capitalize and take the win. So as of right now, it looks like though it's been a dominant performance, a Noah Mayuri-esque performance by Jonathan Parker as he continues to lead this race.
Going back to Dalton Kelly real quick, seeing what happened to him, he looked like he just slid the right rear tire going to turn 1, Jonathan, and it just caught him a little bit by surprise, and he didn't have much room to save that truck, and the wall definitely helped him out a little bit, but it scrubbed off a lot of speed like we saw, and gave him some damage, lost him 2 positions, but he's right there in that fight still, either trying to make it to his fuel window or his tire window.
And right now, really, it looks like the 26, Josh Arnold, has closed the gap down on Dalton Kelly. Indeed, he has. Dalton Kelly struggling down here to run the bottom. And Josh Arnold is not far behind, actually catching. And not far behind him is, I believe, somebody who has pitted for fresh tires recently. 42, Josh Coppernell, going to be looking to the inside of that 26 truck. Not for position, just him passing cars that he's faster than and possibly trying to unlap himself here.
Dalton Kelly, very, very thankful for Josh Coppernell making that move on Arnold that at least stalls him out a little bit and gives Dalton a little more time to try to work on his next approach. Alex Khirfan still on pit road. David Rand is currently tracking down this 42 of Josh Coppernell. You see him in the background there, that number 24 Napa Chevy Silverado. As he continues to close that gap, Coppernell is trying to stay ahead of him right now. If Cameron Caldwell can unlap himself, that would put him in a position to where he could be the free pass as it stands right now. There's Cameron Caldwell in that number 12 machine, battling by second place Ethan Fonseca Moreno, who is currently a second back of race leader Jonathan Parker.
Yeah, Ethan's closed the gap little by little on the 81 truck. It was about 1.5 seconds. Now, like you mentioned, 1.2 is the gap. We'll see it close up a little bit here on the end of this tire stint for Parker. Be interesting to see.
Yeah, looking at the last lap times, Moreno has been about 2-3 tenths faster each lap. So he is cutting down time. So a better, longer run for this 43 truck. Definitely reeling in racer Jonathan Parker. There you see Cameron Caldwell looking to unlap himself, which makes that battle between Durand and Coppernell more important. But it looks like that Durand got by Josh Coppernell, so that'll put him in the free pass position in that 12th position. But of course, they have also got Brett Bennett. That's about 2 seconds ahead of the race leader. A damaged Brett Bennett ahead of the race leader. At the very least, a slow Brett Bennett. As he currently rides around in the 10th position. See the damage to that Srigley stats, Joseph Srigley scheme.
And this 43 knocked down another 10th right there that lap, as he lost probably a half a tenth when he was being passed by the 12 truck. Jonathan Parker lost even more when the 12 was passing him. So just slowly but surely, this gap for the lead is getting smaller and smaller. And as I mentioned earlier, this 43, he's about due for a win, and I would not be surprised if he's contending for it here tonight.
Yeah, been in the top 5 all night tonight, pretty much, Jonathan. And you mentioned he's been up there all season long, pretty much, in the fights. As we see, one truck in the wall is going to be Josh Coppano in turns 1 and 2. We saw him get around a couple trucks laps ago on fresher tires. Lost a few spots there, I believe. No, those were lead lap vehicles that got around him again. But troubles for that 42 truck right now.
Gap is still closing, and they're coming up on about 50-ish laps on this stint here. So here's the question. These drivers that are going yard for it, they're going for a one-stop strategy. It's all a matter of how this plays out for them, because right now Michael Krueger is 8th place right now, 18 seconds back of the race leader. He is the highest running driver, I believe, that came down in pit. He is currently 8th. Yes, the next in line is Cameron Caldwell, who's currently scored in the 10th position. Roy Crump is between the two of them. As of right now, looking at the track, Cameron Caldwell is entering turns 1 and 2, while Michael Krueger is halfway down the backstretch. So a good gap for Michael Krueger back to Cameron Caldwell. Some two big struggles now for Moreno. He is slowly losing that time he was gaining back, but someone who's coming now in the background, Nathan Fuller, is closing up on this number 43 truck.
Yeah, we saw that Ford truck have a lot of long run pace at the end of that first stage, slicing through pretty much the entire top 10. I believe we started his rally outside of the top 10, and he managed to make his way past Michael Krueger for the 4th spot, I believe, in the stage. So a lot of long run pace in this Ford Toyota. Let's see what he can do here the second portion of this race, and especially when we get on the second stint in this stage. Gained 10 positions so far this race, Dawson.
Yeah, and he is looking to continue. Nathan Fuller is on a march to the front. See Brett Bennett getting ready to go a lap down here. 2 race leader Jonathan Parker. He pinches him to the bottom, trying to keep him at bay, and might succeed or might put himself on the wall, either or. He's fighting for that lead lap position, but it's going to end up being all for nothing. Jonathan Parker will clear him and pass him, but if anybody's cheering on that 47, it's Ethan Fonseca Moreno, who continues to close now. A very massive gain, 0.2 of a second, the difference, and Moreno is still rolling in.
Yeah, and we talk about the gap, but it's not really important right now with where we're at. What's important right now is how far these drivers are going to run before they decide to drop down into the pit lane as we cross the line for lap 88 of 134.
Yeah, just to update you, 51 laps is when some of these drivers last pit. That was when the caution, when the green flag flew for the stage. So what I'm seeing here, like I said, there's 2 different fields of ideology. There's the 1 stop and there's the 2 stop. So the 2 stops right now, it's Michael Krueger, who has scored 8th, and Cameron Caldwell is 10th right now. David Durant is 12th. So it's not working out in their favor yet, but they're still trying. See Ethan Fonseca Moreno going to the inside of Brett Bennett. How about David Durant wrapping the top lane, trying to go and get his lap back? Moreno is going to block him and puts him in the wall. Contact with Bennett and Durant. Bennett spins on the front stretch hard into the inside wall, and that's going to bring out a caution. It almost didn't. You saw the drivers swerve to miss the backwards car of Brett Bennett. But in the end...
And that's not the first time that those two have come together here tonight.
It's the same 2 on the same spot of the track, basically, that derailed Bennett's night in the first incident, but completely different circumstances this time, I'd say, Jonathan.
Yes, completely different this time. I would say it's not taking fault, but the outlier here is the 43 of Moreno throwing that late. I would call it a late block there to keep the 24 at bay, and I just think the 24 checked up and ended up getting out of shape and contact with Bennett.
Yeah, so the whole picture right here, guys, is Bennett's damaged. He's just trying to keep his spot on Duran. On Freshies, flying, trying to unlap himself on second place Ethan Moreno, and wow, definitely bizarre circumstances, guys.
I mean, what it looked like Moreno was just sliding up off the corner to clear Bennett. Didn't realize that Duran had the run. It was coming. And then after that, Bennett didn't realize that Duran was to his outside either. And Duran gets the wall and then bounces off and hits Bennett. That's about what it looked like. That's about what it was. I mean, that's all it really came out to be is Duran got the wall because he got pinched right there. And then after that, contact with Bennett, who was to his inside.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dawson, because going into turn 3, Ethan knows Bennett's there. He's right to his right side door, but David Duran is 10 car lengths back, or maybe even more than that, and he has a huge run off of turn 4, and that sets up this whole dynamic where, like you said, Ethan probably doesn't even know he's coming up there because he has a huge run off of that 4th corner.
Now, the big thing with this, I believe that's going to change the free pass, or it would have changed the free pass. Because David Duran was involved. See here, Jonathan Parker, then it's Ethan Moreno, Nathan Fuller off 3rd. Happyack gets off 4th at the last second over Zach Probst. I see, though, Dalton Kelly, he pit 2 laps ago. He pit with that wreck happening.
And something else I noticed, there's a certain 42 truck that's still out on track. Looked like he might have got a lap back there. You talked about the free pass position. I think that helped him get the free pass.
Yeah, so Josh Coppernell with the free pass over David Duran, who's going to have to take a wave around now, which is pretty big, but it looks like he's going to pull down pit road. But Dalton Kelly might have just had the call of the race. It looks like, though, he's going to pull back down pit road. I was going to say he pit 2 laps prior. I don't know if that was just coming down pit road to miss a wreck or to lead a lap even, but I would be willing to say it's leading a lap. But it said he had pit a few laps ago, so I might have just read something wrong there. But anyways.
No, Dawson, he did pit. He was already after the caution was out, though, so I think it was a closed pit. He was in the 6th position the entire time, so I'm not quite sure. Caution was definitely already out at this point when he came on pit road.
Well, as it stands right now, I mean, he's got a bonus point for leading a lap. He led that lap that last time by, so he's going to get a bonus point. It's going to help him in his quest for a championship. Puts him now, unofficially, of course, without the running positions, 46 points back on our race, our championship leader, Jonathan Parker. Of course, there's still a lot to be settled here. It's nowhere near over yet, but with Parker leading the way, it's really going to carve into that points lead. It's really going to build that points lead up for someone like Alex Khirfan, who is still on pit road. Shane O'Neill is off pit road, currently scored 15th right now. He is 3 laps behind Alex Khirfan, so if he can complete 3 more laps, as it stands right now, that'll be another position that Khirfan will lose. So that could put that 30 truck into the 15th position at the end of the night, which it's 1 point, but that 1 point is going to be devastating because coming up on the last 2 races, you've got Martinsville and you've got Kansas. He's going to need a strong run to really close in this gap. Juice cone this time. You can see a lot of guys diving to the bottom. That leaves the outside open for Nick Hapiak and Michael Krueger. Cameron Caldwell goes to the top as well. It looks like Roy Crump, and I believe back in the background there is Dalton Kelly doing the same. Josh Arnold chose the bottom behind Zach Probst. So the field is going to be a little different here up front. As Hapiak now looks to battle, and you see there Michael Krueger, currently the thorn in Jonathan Parker's side. He is that close in points to where any mistake by that 81, Krueger can capitalize. So Parker needs to put together some perfect laps here.
I want to clean up something I just said a moment ago. Dalton Kelly actually did pit as the caution was coming out. The caution deployed the second he hit the commitment line. It was very close, so that's probably why he took that second trip down pit road. I think he got penalized just slightly. It was very close to tell if that 45 made it.
It might have been a case that he just didn't pit, so that way it wouldn't register anything, and the admins can look back and clear that off. Very likely what I think happened is that Dalton just forewent pitting, and that's why he stayed out and led a lap. You know, might as well stay out and lead a lap. But anyways, Jonathan Parker, Nick Hapiak, the front row as they head through 3 and 4. Pace Truck's going to dive off, I believe, at the line this time. Make it about 40 laps to go to the end of this race. Green flag is back in the air. We're back underway in the Mardon 200.
Michael Krueger hops to the outside here, and he almost went for a 3 wide there with Nick Hapiak and the 43 of Ethan Fonseca Moreno, but right now he's side by side with Cameron Caldwell as he's going to dive to the bottom, making aggressive moves here. He almost gets to the inside of the 43, but he does get to the inside of the 6. He's making some moves here and trying to make some noise. Jonathan Parker looking at this in his mirror and saying, "See you later, boys. I'm going to stretch this lead out."
Who is still fighting with Hapiak for that 3rd position. Going to be able to clear him in the center of the corner. Let's see if Hapiak's going to be able to fight back. I don't think he will because Caldwell got to the inside of that 6 truck. And here comes a 12 machine down the back straightaway trying to make it up to that 4th slot right now in line.
Caldwell now battling with Hapiak for this 4th position. He will clear and go by. Cameron Caldwell looking to score the win in this Miami Vice-inspired scheme tonight. Of course, we saw a lot of the guys run that last season, but of course, Cameron the only one to bring it back so far this year. He is looking to score a victory here tonight, and right now he's sitting 4th. He's got a good shot at it.
And he's got a good view at that P3 battle right now, P2 battle, excuse me, Michael Krueger going around Ethan Fonseca Moreno, excuse me, for that 2nd spot. Going to be able to clear him down into the back straightaway. Caldwell now a great run off of turn 3 and 4. He's going to fight Ethan for that 3rd spot himself, Jonathan.
Yeah, the battle for 4th is on. Cameron Caldwell to the inside of the 43. 43 going to fight back on the outside. He got the run off the corner. We'll see if Caldwell sticks to that bottom here. Indeed he does, and he's going to try and set him up here, getting the run through the center. The top line just gets that better run off, and as Caldwell gets a little wiggle there, a little loose. And now Nick Hapiak right back in the picture with Caldwell, trying to attack Caldwell for the 4th position.
Last times by, Parker is slightly faster than Krueger, who is only ever so slightly faster than Moreno. They are all 3 right there with each other in lap times. It looks like a new fastest lap time has been set on the racetrack, and you're looking at the owner of that record. It is Michael Krueger. He ran a 33.072. He's the first driver to drop into a flat 33. So right now, as it stands, I mean, that's an extra point going in his way, so it kind of nullifies, some of those bonus points that Parker's been able to get tonight.
Yeah, Parker putting together a really good night for him. No matter the result, definitely going to have a little bit bigger of a gap here as we go through the rest of this race. And really picking up as many points as he possibly can. Would love to cap it off with a win here tonight, but we still got plenty of racing left as we come across the line for lap 100 right here, guys.
As it stands right now, only 1 bonus point is not going to Jonathan Parker. And that is the fastest lap. That is going to Michael Krueger. Parker has led a lap. He has led the most laps. He won the pole, and he won the stage. So he's maxing out his points for tonight as best as he can. And if he continues to run away with this, it's going to be really hard these next 2 races for Michael Krueger to really make a comeback.
And looking back into Jonathan Parker's mirror, into Michael Krueger's mirror even, I mean, Michael Krueger's got 2 trucks that are hungry on his tailgate right now. The 43, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, and the 12, who we just talked about being loose a couple laps ago, has driven back up here to the back bumper of the 43 and the 14.
Yeah, this has been a very aggressive fight for the 2nd. Ethan Moreno had a pretty good run down the front straightaway a few laps ago, got to the inside of Krueger, but wasn't quite there to really make anything happen, and Krueger made that block and blocked them into the first turn. Here he is again diving into turn 3 as Ethan Moreno in that 43. Caldwell looked to dive on him there, but thought out of it into turn 3, trying to set him up on the front straightaway maybe, because here he comes with a great run down the front, and Nick Hapiak trying to poke his nose in this fight right now again.
Krueger 2/10 faster that time than Jonathan Parker, a 33.6 to a 33.4. Moreno faster as well as Cameron Caldwell, who drifts up the racetrack. Caldwell got a bad exit on turn 2. That's going to give the spot to Hapiak for right now. At least they're going to go side by side. Right now, Krueger and Moreno need to try to string together some good laps and hunt down this race leader, Jonathan Parker, who is trying to run away with it as we approach, I believe, 32 laps to go.
As we've already seen these drivers run out here for this long run, I don't think, unless there's another caution, any of these drivers are thinking pit. So this is where you want to make your positions, as right now the 6 and the 12 continue to battle for this 4th spot inside the top 5, and third and second place cars continue to try to run down the leader. But this is the time to make up your spots. This is the time to show that you've got speed in your truck. And right now the 6 has cleared that 12 officially for the 4th spot, as the 12 looks back to the inside. And you continue to swap back and forth, and Caldwell going to wash up just a little bit. That's going to hurt his run on exit. That's going to allow Happyack to stick to his outside and take the advantage going down here into 3. But Caldwell is going to dive it in again and see if he can get the run. He hits the apron a little bit there. That's going to wash him up the track just a little bit. Happyack's going to get the better run off and continue to hold that spot.
A little bit further back, Dalton Kelly, 7th right now. He's got a field of trucks behind him. Josh Arnold, Roy Crump, Zach Probst, Josh Copperdo all right there, ready to pounce if he makes any mistakes, which is disastrous for him, because if something happens, he loses more spots. That's more points he is giving up to the top 3. And with Khirfan pretty much out of this race, with him finishing what is currently 15th, and David Duran also struggling, that's going to allow Kelly to try to solidify himself as 3rd, but to solidify himself as contending for the championship is a whole nother story.
Yeah, it's going to be near impossible for really anyone other than our top 2 in the standings right now to make a run of that championship, like you mentioned. They just have been so dominant all year amongst themselves and gathered all the bonus points, all these in-race points to make themselves in a league of their own, essentially.
And right now, looking at lap times, Jonathan Parker is stretching this lead out, and he is outlapping the 2 that were originally chasing him. Now they're just trying to pray that they can keep up. He is putting down some lap times, about a 10th faster each lap. Just absolutely flying out here. And I beg the question, I hope he's saving a little bit of tire because of the fact that he's running so fast right now, and that he's not going to allow these guys to close up to him as we get later into this run.
Well, I feel like if he's saving tire, does that mean that these guys behind him are pushing hard and are still losing time to him? That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if now Krueger and Moreno have kind of settled back in and decided to try to save a little bit of stuff and see if they can't make a charge at the end. They're not really gaining, they're not really losing. So why not try coasting? Save some tire a little bit. Try to make sure you're there for the end of it. So, I mean, we still got a good amount of laps to go. It's just all going to come down to who saves the tire the best and, who can make a run at the end.
And right now, Jonathan Parker continues to lead by 1.2 seconds over Michael Krueger, and about half a second back is that 43, who now has the 6 of Nick Happyack up his tailgate. Nick Happyack kind of been quiet here tonight. He's been in a few battles as far as just outside the top 5, but now inside the top 5, starting to make some noise here and showing why he is a dominant driver in one of our different, one of the other leagues that we broadcast with the DI9 NAR series. So I don't think you can count any of these drivers out, especially because we've still got that big yellow flag hanging over everybody's heads. One driver makes a mistake, it could be game on from there.
See, Happyack's going to get to the inside of Ethan Moreno here. Thought of it into turn 3, couldn't quite get there close enough. A couple of laps ago into turn 1, he was right underneath pretty much the tailgate of Ethan Fonseca Moreno, and Ethan blinked out there for a second, and took a couple seconds for him to come back into reality, so he was visible again, but kind of a scary moment there when he was almost making contact between the two and they just disappeared.
Yeah, and back behind them, Caldwell and Fuller are battling for this 5th spot Fuller going to get the better of Caldwell this time. Move Fuller up to the 5th spot. Fuller's mounting a charge again here later in this run. We've seen it once already. Fuller is fast on these old tires, and he mounts a charge yet again. As we look back here, 7th through 9th is battling very hard. Josh Arnold, Zach Probst, and Dalton Kelly all within a good parameter of each other right now. And Dalton Kelly really on the losing end of this stick right now, barely hanging on to the top 10, as right behind him is the 42 of Josh Coppernell. And Josh Coppernell looks like he actually might be able to catch the 45. As the 45 gets a little loose on exit there, that's going to help the 42 catch up. Dawson, we don't talk about it much, but we might see our boy hang out in this top 10 for a while here.
Yeah, currently running 10th. Only trucks behind him on the lead lap are Roy Crump. He's a half a second back. And then David Durant is a lap down with damage. So not a lot of pressure out back for this 42. As he currently runs in the 10th position, he's only got upwards to go.
Exactly, and doing what he has to do here, just surviving, but back up front, Michael Krueger still holds a gap over Moreno. Looks like Nick Hapiak has fallen back a little bit, but here comes Fuller from the 5th spot. He is to the deck lid now of that 6 truck, trying to get there, trying to get by. We've seen that he mounts a charge. He's still mounting that charge right now. And right now where I think Fuller is getting the advantage, he's not sliding out like I see a lot of the trucks in front of him do on exit. He's sticking to the bottom and actually getting a decent run on exit. Not really diamonding the corner, but just focusing on keeping his line consistent and keeping his truck glued to the track. And it's working out for him right now as he just got past Nick Hapiak for that 4th spot.
Two big things to mention here. This is important because this is the battle for the Dash for Cash. Right now, Ethan Fonseca Moreno holds that. Nathan Fuller is running in 2nd right now. If he can get by Moreno, this will put Fuller in the competition to win the grand prize come Kansas. And it'll put him, in the winning Dash for Cash spot. So this is very much an important position, at least for these drivers here, battling to see if they can't go on to swap some paint for $100 out at Kansas in 2 weeks' time today. We see the battles going throughout the field as well. Still Fuller, Moreno, Michael Krueger's up ahead. They are still 1.7 seconds back of our race leader, Jonathan Parker. Looking throughout the rest of the field, Alex Khirfan is about 30 minutes of damage repair, which is close to what you would need for an engine repair. So if he wanted to go back out and knock 3 laps out, that is a position. I think he's about out of time to get up to the 13th position, Brett Bennett, but he can get to 14th if he does choose to pull out on track and go for it. Look at that run, though, but Ethan Fonseca Moreno to the outside of Michael Krueger.
Yeah, I was getting ready to talk about it while you were talking there, Dawson. The 43 had caught the 14, and I think the 14 just not as good on the pace here later in this run, and now he's got the 4 truck all over his tailgate, trying to see if he can hold on here. Just not good late here in the run, and the 43 clears him. Fuller going to look to the inside. I think Fuller's probably going to take another spot here if he can get the run off he's been getting. Indeed, Fuller does clear, so that puts the top 3 now. Jonathan Parker, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, and Nathan Fuller. And Nathan Fuller is not done. He is still all over the tailgate of that 43, as he has been for the last couple laps, and he's not going to let the 43 run away. But as we keep talking about, you got to take care of your stuff here and not burn it up. And the 43 still having some in and out blinking issues, so it could be problematic for some of these drivers trying to pass him with them not knowing where he is on track.
Cutting back here to the back half of the field, talk about Josh Coppernell real quick. He has been passed by Roy Crump. He is now 11th. But up front, Jonathan Parker with a 2-second lead. I believe at the line this time it will be 15 laps to go. Indeed it is. So 15 to go here. And you know, everybody in the field wants one thing except for Jonathan Parker. They want that yellow flag to fall so they can have a shot at this win. Parker checking out. I mean, feels reminiscent of what we saw at Darlington earlier this year with this 81 truck. Just gets out front, just dominates this race. So I'm not shocked to see, you know, him continue this trend, looking for win number 5 on his career in his rookie season. So he's definitely going to be a force of nature, you know, a force to be reckoned with these last 2 races as well. But there's still one last curveball before the championship race. Of course, next week, that's Martinsville. Of course, last year's race was chaotic. We saw a hectic 3 overtime finish that led to Dalton Kelly scoring his first career win over Cameron Caldwell. But right now, we're talking about the present, and the present is Jonathan Parker, who continues to knock off laps. It'll be 13 to go this next time by. Nathan Fuller, Ethan Fonseca Moreno continue to battle for the second spot.
Yeah, you mentioned, Jonathan, that anyone didn't want to see a caution. I'm curious to see if Nathan Fuller wants this to go green, because this is going to be fun to see him trying to get around this 43 truck and wrestle that 2-second gap to Jonathan Parker. It's been a pattern of this race, like you guys were talking about a minute ago. These guys, some of these trucks have a lot of great long run pace, and some of them fall off really bad at the end of long runs here. And that 4 truck, we've mentioned it all night, comes to life at the end of these stints, and here he is still right there with Ethan Moreno, like we mentioned, trying to get it up to the second position. Time is running out if he wants to catch that 81 truck without a yellow, but this is where he's at his best at the end of the stints.
Yeah, and last time by, he actually matched the lap time of Jonathan Parker. They both went 34.688. So he is fast right now. He has the speed. I just think he can't get around this 43. He's struggling to make the pass, and that's what's going to kill him here in terms of this gap that is being created. Right now, the 43 being a great pick. I feel like if the 43 moves out of the way, the 4 has a chance to go chase down Jonathan Parker.
But I don't think he's got enough time. I mean,
yeah.
It's not enough time. You've got to knock down just about, you know, about 2/10 every lap at this point now, which he's not fully doing. He is doing it slightly, but not enough. And you see Fuller almost got into Moreno. He kept it off him.
That's going to just continue to make them bleed lap time, though. They were starting to lose a little bit of time to Jonathan Parker before that. Cameron Caldwell was in the wall behind them. He's going to keep it going, no issue there, but that slide in turns 1 and 2 for the 43 and 4 trucks not going to help their case at all, Dawson.
Not at all. You know, they're still battling hard for this second place. Again, they still have something to battle for, this dash for cash, but yet they still were faster than our race leader. So even with that bobble, they were still a 10th faster, but that's just not enough right now. They need to be 2/10 faster every lap from now on to have a shot at going for this win, or they're going to need a caution fast to really be able to try and go for it. And right now, it's just not working in their favor. They are still losing time, not fully gaining on Jonathan Parker.
Yeah, and that bump had been building for a couple laps, guys. A couple laps in a row. Fuller gets to the rear bumper and peeks inside, and Moreno keeps shutting the door on him. If that keeps happening and Fuller pulls back up here and gets to the bumper of this 43 as we log down the laps, I wouldn't be surprised to see the 4 move the 43. The 43 ran a great race, but me personally, you're running for second place, you're running for a dash for cash. I don't see a reason to throw your whole race out there just because you want to keep one spot. I think the 43, he's got to stick to the bottom here because Nathan Fuller's rolling it way better than the 43 is right now.
They're chipping into the lead little by little, but it's just not enough. I mean, they're getting there. It's just too little too late for this to be the rate in which they catch Jonathan Parker. But Moreno is definitely trying to make a run at it, make a charge. If he can somehow mount this charge, it would be phenomenal. But it's going to take a long shot here for this 43 to catch Jonathan Parker, who is now 1.8 seconds ahead of the field. That time by Moreno, slightly faster, just only a 10th. Not enough, too late. Only be gaining a 10th at a time. He needs Parker to make a mistake, or he needs a yellow quick.
Yeah, and looking back through the field, our outside pole sitter here tonight, the 62 of Zach Probst, has gotten around the 12 of Cameron Caldwell for that 6th position. Zach Probst showing a little bit of pace here. He's got Nick Hapiak just up the road from him, and the 30 of Alex Khirfan has pulled back out on track after getting his damage repaired. Just trying to log laps. He is currently 60 laps down, and 3 laps is the difference to him and Shane O'Neill.
Now just one. No, it's just one now. He'll complete this lap, and he will pass that 91 truck for 14th. So he'll get a spot, but it's just going to be an ugly finish. 14th right now as it stands for Alex Khirfan. Just unfortunate ending to his day after having a very good run throughout this race. But coming around this time by, it's going to be 5 laps to go in the Mardon 200. Jonathan Parker out front, dominant all night long. And I want to check and see. I want to make sure that's not Noah Mayeri behind the wheel of that number 81 truck tonight. He has just been on a fast track to the front and just dominating this race.
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit ago, Dawson, kind of reminiscent of his Darlington domination. Not as quite of a huge lead that he built up throughout this race that we saw in Darlington, but he has extended it now little by little. The last couple laps, pulled it again from a 1.9 to a 2-second gap. Let's see what it's going to be this time. But he's been untouchable in the grand scheme of things outside the restarts. Ethan's going to bring it down another 10th between these two, but it's just going to be too little too late. Ethan finished 2nd to Jonathan Parker at Darlington. Worn out racetracks might be this combo's thing here. 2 great buddies here, racing 1-2 all night.
And something I'm keeping tabs on right now, the 30 truck is closing on the top, or the 2 drivers battling for the 2nd position. He could play separator here between the 2 and cause issues for Nathan Fuller or the 43 of Moreno.
Yeah, as soon as you say that, Khirfan comes over the driver radio and says he's going to chill right there. So he doesn't interfere with that P2 battle. He knows it's the Dash for Cash also. So he said he's just going to sit right there and ride and watch.
Yeah, and I believe I'm hearing some frustration over the 4 radio of the blinking issue we had talked about with Moreno. 4 truck feeling like it's not safe for him to pass if Moreno's going to be blinking. You know, I kind of feel for him in the terms of a car that you can't see where he is on track. How do you pass a guy like that?
Yeah, obviously Fuller wants to get around him and get that spot, but he doesn't want to wreck him to do it, and can't see him. You can't judge that properly. It's been, unfortunately, a common theme all season long for Ethan Fonseca Moreno.
As Jonathan Parker comes through turn 4, it's going to be the white flag this time by. Moreno has finally been trying to pull him in. He's been having faster laps, but it's just too late. Parker now into 1 and 2. Dominant this whole race, this whole season for this 81 truck. We've seen him just dominate these races he gets out front of, and he just goes on and just beats the field. And that's what we're seeing here tonight yet again. Michael Krueger is 4th. He's going to not jump tremendously, but it's still going to be a big buffer now between himself and that 14 truck for the championship. Through 3 and 4, Jonathan Parker scores win number 5 on his career here at Homestead, and Ethan Fonseca Moreno 2nd place. He will be the Dash for Cash winner tonight. So those two are going to both get to celebrate together here.
And coming out of turn 4, looks like Josh Coppernell got by Roy Crump, and he's going to bring home a top 10 here tonight.
Indeed he did. Let's see if we can go back and see how he got by him. Looking to see there. Yeah, he was just well ahead of him there on that last lap. So Josh Coppernell, 10th place finish. He'll celebrate it like he won the race. But Jonathan Parker, man, oh man, what is there left to say about him tonight?
Honestly, I don't think there is anything to say. Just talking to him last night after the NAR race, and notable to mention, he did finish P3 last night with the DI9 NAR series at Martinsville, which we go to next week. So he's got momentum going into next week from this win tonight, but he also has a good finish under his belt in a car that I would say is probably harder to drive there than a truck. So there's not much else you can say about him. Very humble driver, very clear that he does not want to seem like he's coming into this league and, he's better than everybody. But putting up 5 wins in a season is a statement. And it's, like I said, very humble driver, doesn't want to feel that way, but he's putting on a stellar season. There's just no other way to explain it. Stellar season.
As I mentioned, coming into this race, Krueger and Khirfan needed him to have issues, and it went the exact opposite. Every one of them had issues, except for that number 81 truck, Jonathan Parker, who is going to burn it down here tonight. Like I said, his 5th career win here in the InThePitsNews Truck Series. And as he celebrates the win, we're going to look at the points and see if I can't get you a rough, unofficial point count as the celebration goes on. There's Ethan Fonseca Moreno, of course, your Dash for Cash winner, finishing 2nd here tonight. So the two of them are going to celebrate here on the front straightaway. I'm going to try to do a dual burnout here. Might have worked. Might not have gone as well as they thought it would, but hey, it's still a celebration nonetheless. So as we continue on with the post-race coverage, let's take a look at your finishing results for tonight's event, the Mardon 200. You can see there, as it pops up on your screen, Jonathan Parker winning here tonight. Ethan Fonseca Moreno brings it home 2nd. He will be your Dash for Cash winner. Nathan Fuller comes home 3rd. Michael Krueger back in 4th. And Nick Hapiak rounding out your top 5.
6th place is going to be Zach Probst. 7th is going to be Cameron Caldwell. Josh Arnold 8th. Dalton Kelly 9th. And Josh Carpenter, like we noted, rounded out the top 10 finishers tonight.
Finishing just outside outside the top 10 in the 11th spot is going to be Roy Crump, the last car on the lead lap. First car lap down is going to be David Duran, finishing up 12th. Huge shot to his playoff hopes here tonight, and not the run you want to see if you're in the 24 camp. 47 laps down, finishing in 13th is going to be the 47 of Brett Bennett. 60 laps down and able to cross the line at the end of it is the 30 of Alex Khirfan in the 14th position. Shane O'Neill 15th. Jackson Glenn Austin finishing in the 16th position, and rounding out our field here tonight, the 69 at Tristan Maher in the 17th position.
So as the teams celebrate, let's see if we can get a hold of our 3rd place finisher tonight, just coming up short of that Dash for Cash win. Let's see if we can get a hold of Nathan Fuller. Jonathan.
Indeed, I did get a hold of him. And Nathan Fuller, do you have a copy?
I do.
Well, you finished 1 spot short of a Dash for Cash win here tonight, and you bring it home 3rd, though. Great run for you. You had amazing long run speed there. Able to really mount a charge there late in the run and pick up a 3rd place finish. Just walk us through the race and how it went for you out there.
Yeah, I mean, starting at the back, I didn't qualify worth much at all here. I couldn't find the speed the other guys did, but I knew for a fact driving here before I can keep it clean and smooth on the long runs, and driving up from the back of the field, everybody's tires started to get burned. I'll say that late caution, halfway-ish, like 80-odd laps in, kind of ruined the strategy a bit because the guys that pit early got a second chance at life, but able to drive it all the way up there. It doesn't help when the guy that finishes second's blocking like hell for his teammate, and then he disappears on the stretch, so you can't draft him. But still able to pull a 3rd place out of it.
And you mentioned Ethan Fonseca Moreno's issues there. We were talking about it up here in the booth as you were battling out there on track. Can you just go ahead and walk us through what's going through your head when you're trying to pass a guy for second place and you can't see where he is?
It's near impossible. You're coming down the straightaway and his car's halfway in the wall for the whole straightaway. There's no draft, so you don't get any run. And then, getting into the turns, occasionally he just disappear, and you're like trying to run your line, but I don't want to drive through where he's at, to where if he comes back, it causes a wreck. So you can't read it, and then on the straightaways, the draft just keeps getting reset, so you can't even get a run on him to make any moves.
Well, you bring it home third here tonight, but next week we go to a very different track, the little paperclip of Martinsville. What do you think you have next week, and what are you looking forward to?
I mean, that's going to be a door-to-door racing all the way. If you have the brake markers down and everything, and you can make sure not to run through the guys in front of you, it is going to be definitely just side to side, door to door, and it's going to be a brawl through that race. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, and final thing before we let you go, any shout outs, sponsors, or teammates that you need to thank here tonight?
Of course, the shout out to Omnia Racing, Omnia Motorsports, let me out here, getting to drive with them, being the only driver left, but still fun. And then I know I got family and friends watching, so shout out to them for tuning in, and we'll see what we can do next week.
All right, that is your third place finisher, Nathan Fuller, here tonight. Nathan, go ahead and go celebrate.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, and Adam, I believe you have caught up with our second place driver here tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking for him. He's not in the Discord from what I can tell.
Yes, so maybe we'll try with Ethan Fonseca Moreno later. But for now, Adam, I believe you've actually caught up with our race winner as well.
Yeah, hey, Jonathan Parker, you got a copy?
Hear me?
Yeah, we can. How was it out there? 5th career win, first of the chase. Got to celebrate there with Ethan Moreno, who won the Dash for Cash. What was that race like? Start off with that.
It was pretty slick out there, especially if you weren't really paying attention. But I just backed up my corners and tried not to burn my tires up in the first 2 to 3 laps of a run. And the truck really actually wasn't on wheels. I didn't really like how it handled that much, but I did the best with what I was given. It's a fixed setup, so I got to do that 2 more times when the championship, because you saw. I mean, I don't even know where he restarted on that last restart, but then I saw him in second in a lap, and I'm like, that dude's a man on a mission. The dude's crazy fast, and he's giving everything he's got. But I got to bring my A game, because last week I was kind of napping, and I can't be doing that anymore.
I can't be caught napping. Next week's Martinsville. Talk to me a little bit this week about not getting caught in the chaos next week. What do you have to do to survive going into that race, and looking forward to Kansas 2 weeks from then?
I just got to do my best to get the pole and control the race. If I could do that, I won't be in the Hornets' nest that is Martinsville. Running NAOR yesterday gave me a little bit of confidence, because I kind of didn't know where I stood here, but I know that I have a decent pace there now, so I'll try to build off of that for next week. And then Kansas, I don't even know if that's a rim riding track in this game. I don't never know with iRacing, but either way, I'll be ready for it.
All right, well, who do you have to thank here? Who do you have to shout out after a pretty dominant win here tonight? Like I mentioned, first of the chase.
I'd like to thank JBM, Jared Wilson. I got to thank Ethan. We work together a lot, and we've helped each other. We push each other to get better so much ever since he got it in September, and I got it back in like March of last year. Christian Pacheco, he's a good emotional support person, because that's all he's good for. He's not very good at iRacing otherwise. And Cam for making these great schemes and allowing me to race this race. And you guys in the booth, I'm sure you guys did a great job. I'll watch it over. I'm sure you guys found something to talk about, I guess.
Well, we did. Congrats again on the victory. Good luck next week, and we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's tonight's winner, Jonathan Parker, in the 81 truck here at Homestead-Miami. Points leader. over a little bit over Michael Krueger now, Dawson. I'm sure we'll get that put up in a little bit. But tonight's winner.
I'm sorry to say, I have been feeling a lot under the weather and just have not been able to get that put together. But I do have the points, unofficially, that I can read off to you. I can let you know what the situation is right now. Jonathan Parker is still the points leader. As of right now, he should have, unofficially, a 22-point gap over Michael Krueger. Finished ahead of him the next two races, or finished within a few spots of him. Championship is his. Now for third, Alex Khirfan is now 56 points out of the championship, all but over for him. Same goes to Dalton Kelly, who's 59 back. David Durand is 65 back, and then everybody else is officially out of it. That would be Justin Durand, who's back 94. Alonso Chicano, down 99. Andrew Elias is back 121. Ryan Bogey back 138. And Matthew Stotts is back 146 points. So, what we did coming into this race was a 5-horse battle. And we saw 3 of them have issues and not be able to capitalize on being right there with it. So now it's down to just 2 pretty much. It's going to be between Parker and Krueger. For Parker, all he's got to do is manage. He doesn't have to go win, but if he does, it'll definitely help his chances. Krueger, though, he's going to have to put together a good run the next 2 races and hope something happens to Parker at Martinsville to really tighten this gap back up.
Well, and we appreciate you pulling up those points, Dawson, but we have actually caught up with our second place driver here tonight, and I'm going to pull him up here into the booth with us. Ethan Fonseca Moreno, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you bring it home P2 here tonight, and on top of that, you get the Dash for Cash victory. Go ahead and walk us through the racing there and how you feel the race went for you.
You know, honestly, it was pretty good. I was thinking of a strategy or to like get past anyone. I know that there was like maybe some sort of a chance to get to Jonathan Parker, but you know, but everything was smooth and all that. Just obviously wasn't quick enough. But you know, I think maybe if that last caution had come out, maybe there was a chance I'd probably get him on strategy. But yeah, the pace was there for the trucks. I knew that we had the pace, but you know, just some guys in traffic were having the race, kind of slowed us down to at least try to catch up. But yeah, it was a solid race for sure.
And a little bit of a developing storyline throughout the race, especially for the guy that was riding behind you. I'm sure you knew about it yourself, and you were doing all you could to try and fix it. Obviously, having a little bit of internet issue, guys are saying you're jumping up and down, going down the back straightaway and disappearing in the corners. What is that like for you as a driver, knowing that you're the guy with that issue and trying to race these guys respectfully, but also hold on to your own position?
You know, I can't control the internet part. I'm trying to switch between 2 connections. Both of them are kind of unstable at the moment. And yeah, at the end, I don't know how it was during the race. I don't see anything like jumping with the green bar or whatever. But I don't know. I'm trying to keep it clean with everybody. Unfortunately, if it did interfere with any other people's races, sorry to them. But you know, I'm also trying to race for a win as well because I haven't had the luck this season. So I'm trying to, you know, make up for it in the playoffs. So sorry to those guys.
Yeah, and you talk about not having the luck to pull off a win here. I keep saying it week after week. You are overdue for a win, and going into next week, Martinsville, but even the week after that at Kansas, you're going to be racing for the big prize at Kansas. Talk about next week and what you're looking forward to, and then what your strategy is going to look like out there at Kansas to try and take home the big money.
Yeah, I don't really know what to expect for both of the races. Both those races have not been my best on here, so. I mean, it could be different. You know, it's the trucks. I haven't driven them on those tracks yet. But, yeah, just trying to carry forward the momentum that we've been having for the past, I don't know, since the playoffs started, except for Bristol. But, yeah, just trying to go out there and win, get something, you know.
Yeah, and before we let you go here tonight, final shout outs, sponsors, teammates, anybody like that you got to thank here tonight.
Shout
that
out to
helped get done?
JP, the best man on this grid, in my opinion.
All right, and that will be your second place finisher and your Dash for Cash winner here tonight, Ethan Fonseca Marino. Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
So we've had some tempers flared here in the server. Obviously, some people not happy with some incidents on track. It happens in racing. But let's talk to somebody who might be ecstatic over the moon. We're going to talk to the one, the only, Josh Coppernell. You did it. You scored a top 10. First off, good job.
Thanks, man. That I had to work for it, that's for sure. Roy and I were going back and forth there for the last few laps. I think he screwed up a little bit, got on the wall, and that allowed me to get past him. But then I kept finding ways to screw it up, and he'd get right back up to me. And it was a battle. He definitely kept me on my toes thinking. Yeah, just again, I like with, I don't know, 7 laps to go, I told Cam, I said, seriously though, you need to put an 11th place sticker on my truck because I'll have about 5 of them by now.
Yeah, you've really been rocking those 11th place finishes until tonight, finally getting the top 10. So now next week looms Martinsville. What are your plans for that race next week?
Martinsville, well, I think you want me to say what I think you want me to say, but I was thinking about it, and I'm gonna burst your bubble. I still have a chance to win a lot of money, Dawson, so I'm racing Martin. No, I'm kidding.
You having a chance to win anything, I knew was a joke.
I plan on being in the booth and allowing you to race that. So yeah, no, we'll race. We'll allow you to race Martinsville and be in the booth next week for Martinsville. I think it's going to be a fun show. And last season I missed Martinsville as well. I think I might have been visiting family in a different state, so I know you had to broadcast that one. So I think it'll give you a chance to actually run Martinsville with these guys, and see if SBLD can go back to back there.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to see how it plays out, and I hope to be the one to put it back to back. But obviously, not an expert at short tracks, but we'll see what we can do at Martinsville. That's Josh Coppernell, your 10th place finisher, of course, the boss man here at JCTV. Congrats on your top 10, Josh.
Thanks, we did it. 10th place, down 11th.
And with that, we'll kick him out of here. He's celebrating too much for someone who finished 10th. But that will do it for tonight's race. I mean, Adam, Jonathan, what did you see from your perspective on how that race played out?
Pretty much played out the way we pretty much could have anticipated going in. Thought we would have had more of a battle for the lead there between Krueger and Parker on the short runs and the longer runs, but that 14 truck just fell off too much. A little bit too much speed on the short end, and it fell off way too fast on the long run. And like we saw every run, he lost positions, and it was a fun fight for that Dash or Cash. Wish it could have been a full-on fight between those guys without the connection issues, but it is what it is on that front. Glad we didn't see them wreck because of it and take someone out because of that. Like that, Phil is going to have a chance next week to fight and get in. But I'm looking forward to Martinsville next week. It's going to be something. It's going to be interesting. It can go a lot like last night did, or it can go hopefully a lot better direction than last night and last season did at Martinsville.
Yeah, I mean, Adam, you speak about last night, and it was a good race. I will not take that away from that race, but I hope we get better than what we had last week, or next week. Just for the sake of all the people at home and the sake of us in the booth. I don't know if there's anybody who likes calling caution laps. Everyone likes calling wrecks, though. So I hope we get that kind of action where we have the wrecks, but we have the spaces between them. And as far as tonight went, dominant performance from Jonathan Parker. You can't take that away from him, but you can't take away the battling that we had throughout the field the entire race. Drivers putting it all out there, trying to get every position they can. You see playoff drivers like David Duran trying to do what he can, ripping the outside wall, putting himself on that edge. knowing that he wasn't as fast as some of those other guys, but just trying everything he could to get up there. And I anticipate that as we get to these last 2 races, the fight's only going to amp up even more. I think there's a lot of drivers out there that are pulling for Jonathan Parker to not win either one of these next 2 races and for the points championship to close up.
Yeah, and heading into next week, it's going to be very crucial because if Parker gets wrecked or something happens to Parker, well, then more pressure falls on Michael to not make a mistake and to have a good finish. Because if you both wreck out but you finish 2 spots ahead of him, that's only 2 points really. I mean, that's not a lot of a gap, especially with it being a 22 point gap. Unofficially, obviously, still waiting on the final points tally, but just looking at it, how it stands next week in Martinsville, if it does run anything like last season, it will be chaotic, and it will be a race to keep an eye on. Of course, we saw all the chaos, all the carnage, the multiple incidents leading to multiple green-white checkers, a lot of upset drivers, that is for sure. So that'll do it for us here tonight from the Mardon 200 at Homestead. Of course, as always, use code JCTV10 at Spoiler Diecast, 10% off your order. And then, of course, Mardon Technologies, we're always very thankful for them hopping on to sponsor these races. Mardon Technologies, what you see here is what you're getting, and it's a very great computer, very great everything. Brian Haynes is amazing, and I really do appreciate everything he's done for me to help you all get this experience. But that will do it for us here tonight from Homestead. We have just 2 races left here in Season 3. As we look at your schedule before we go for the night, Homestead is complete. It leaves just 2. Martinsville, Kansas, the next 2 weeks here. JCTV, Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, when we get to that race at Kansas, we'll have a bit of a special. We'll have an extra early broadcast start time, about 7:40, 7:35-ish, just to get some extra words in with our drivers that will be competing for a championship. That'll do us for us here tonight at Homestead. Congratulations to Jonathan Parker, who walks away and comes 1 step closer to winning a championship. For Jonathan Canfield and Adam Kuhn, this is Dawson Allen signing off, saying so long and have a great rest of your night.